Hello everyone, welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. We're going to do an update to the video I did a couple of days ago regarding Verizon laying off a mass amount of employees. If you watched that video, the update was, at the time, the info that I had was that Verizon was going to be laying off at least 15,000 employees. Since then, we've had updates from numerous different sources confirming that it would actually be more like 20,000 now. So that amount has increased by 5,000. So that's a lot of added employees that are going to be losing their job very soon. And it's sad. So actually, I think the layoffs started yesterday, November 20th, 2025. So it's in process. There's a number of employees that have already been terminated, and I'm sure it's going to continue until that amount is reached. I don't know if they're all being laid off same day or within a certain amount of days following, or maybe in a few weeks, but pink slips are starting to go out that, they went out yesterday, November 20th, 2025. So nonetheless, this is really bad news, and it's bad news for everyone all across the board, and I'll explain to you why. So obviously the employees first and foremost, losing their jobs, worst time of year to lose your job. Even if you're not a big holiday person, you still don't want to lose your job while everyone else is out spending money and celebrating, right? You know how it feels to be a poor person watching rich people drive by in a super fancy car and you're in a dust bucket that's said to break down. It just doesn't feel right. Well, that's how this is going to feel for these employees. So it's kind of a cold situation that they're being put in, and some of these people really just don't deserve it. Some of them have put their heart and soul into their job, even though they shouldn't have. They're not being paid enough. Companies do not respect employees enough in 2025 for you to even really want to bend over and work as hard as some people still do. But they have the traditional mindset where they believe hard work pays. And some of these people, unfortunately, they're probably going to change their way of thinking after this. It's probably going to burn them a little bit. So we have that. Now, Verizon itself, short term, they see this as a problem solver, right? A solution, because their idea is that cost reductions are the way of life for them, right? And that is how they're going to save money. They can't make more money with their plans. They can't really do anything else right now. They're out of ideas. They can't compete with themselves at this point. And what do I mean by compete with themselves? Well, I think that it's pretty obvious that the MVNOs or their subsidiaries, Visible, Total, for example, and even US Mobile, which they don't have any partnership with directly other than leasing their networks to, they're crushing Verizon, okay? They're crushing Verizon postpaid and prepaid. Many that are on Verizon are leaving to go to those options because it's just a better deal. Let's face it. Verizon postpaid and prepaid, for most people, it's a ripoff. Now, there are some that appreciate the value of multi-line discounts, phones, right? You can get some really solid phones if you're willing to commit to a relationship with Verizon postpaid for at least 24 months. But not everybody wants that. Not everybody is going to take advantage of those deals. And even Verizon said it itself. It's losing a lot of customers. People aren't switching phones as much as they like. So there's really no way for them to hook and bait customers in like they used to. It's just not working anymore. And with plans being so cheap on the competition, Visible, Total, it's a lose-lose situation for them, okay? So short term, they may see this as a problem solver. Long term, I think it's going to hurt them because I think they're going to lose even more customers. When they take away customer service, they take away branches, customers are going to be unhappy. So that brings us to the third reason why this is bad, right? So who's going to hurt here besides the employees the most, right? So it's going to be the employees first, and then it's going to be the customers, you and I, people who pay for Verizon service. Now, I don't personally have a Verizon postpaid or prepaid line, but I'm using myself as an example of a customer that would struggle, that would have a problem if I was paying for postpaid service, which is very expensive. Now they want to threaten to take away the branches. They want to cut costs in call centers. They're going to do whatever they can to save money. And that is a problem, okay? Because if you have an issue, you may not be a chat person. You may not be able to get the information or the solutions that you need to the problem that you have online. It doesn't always work out. Some people that you deal with during chat, they're just not professional. They're not paying attention. And it's the same thing when you call their call centers. We all know that these calls are being outsourced to other countries that aren't as educated as we need them to be sometimes. They struggle with their language barriers, and it's just an overall, uncomfortable experience for many, especially the ones that feel like they're getting ripped off to begin with, overpaying for postpaid, prepaid accounts with Verizon. So I think ultimately everybody here is going to lose. Now, I do think Verizon is going to dust themselves off. Eventually, they'll be fine. They'll figure it out. Cost cutting and hurting others probably will benefit them. So short term, it will. Intermediate, it'll probably set them back because they're going to lose an enormous amount of customers. We're probably going to see an increase of churn because of this. But then maybe in the long run, I think it might work out because I think they're starting to realize that they can cheat their way through the process. Their business model has changed. They're learning from themselves. So bringing us back to Visible, bringing us back to Total, a lot of customers really don't step foot into a branch unless it's absolutely necessary. There's a handful that still have to do that. Family man who wants to add multi-lines, not really into following, the trends and what's available out there. It's just a business dude. His goal is to make money. He doesn't care about networks. He doesn't care about, deals. He cares about deals, but he's not willing to do enough research to see that he can go to Visible to get the same thing. Now, if he's introduced to that deal, he's certainly going to take advantage of it. But a lot of people are too lazy to try to do that research and figure it out, or they just don't know how. They just aren't aware of it. And that's kind of what we're doing here, right? In channels that you follow across the board. We're all doing the common thing here. We're trying to educate people as to what's available, how you can save money and live better, get better service without breaking the bank, without being a slave to your phone bill, which many have been for many years, myself included. More than 10 years ago, I was overpaying for service. We didn't have the options that we have now. This is a gold mine having these options from Visible, Mint Mobile, Total. I mean, it's been a phenomenal run with all of these offerings that we're getting. So ultimately, this is a bigger problem than it suggests. But a lot of it is the big problem. It's going to hurt Verizon because it shows that they're running fresh out of ideas and they're doing things that are ultimately going to push more customers away. And, in the long run, it is going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them. Like they'll be fine. They'll stay around. They'll figure it out. They may have to axe the competition. They may have to raise prices on Visible and Total in order for them to stay relevant on the postpaid and prepaid side. Or, I don't know, they may come up with some solutions. They may be able to, maybe if they get rid of the branches, they can spend more money on better offers with the plans. That's possible. Maybe that's what they're looking to do here. Maybe that's their goal. We'll see. We're going to monitor it, right? We're going to keep following it and see where this takes us. But ultimately, the customers, at least for the short term, are definitely going to feel this for the ones that need branches, that require that kind of help. And I think it just kind of shows where things are going. And, with AI and all that's promising and hoping to offer these companies as well, this is just the way that it's going to go going forward. Like T-Mobile's doing it, at&t, we don't hear too much about what's going on with them that much anymore. We've actually got some good news from them, but ultimately they're just as bad. Trust me, all three are just looking out for numero uno, and that's themselves. And at the end of the day, the customer's left holding, the garbage bag. Like, that's basically it. We're here to take out the trash. And the only way to really get these carriers is to go to the competition. Like, Verizon wants to play these games. Listen, more reason to leave them, okay? But besides the fact that their plans are pretty much not worth what they're charging right now, not unless you have multi-members that you're going to bring to the table to get the best discounts possible. They took away legacy pricing. They're disrespecting, customers that have been with them for years, 20, 25 years, I think it was. I did a video on that. You're offering someone a calendar, okay? I mean, it just shows that they're just cheaping out, and they're looking kind of pathetic in that way. So I think ultimately the disrespect comes to the customer that stays and continues to pay. More reason to go to the competition is what I'm saying. If you're not going to get branches, if you're not going to be treated like a postpaid customer, then why would you pay postpaid customer prices? You don't have that classiness anymore, that swag walking into a store and getting someone to run up to you and offer you assistance. You're not even going to have a store. And so even now, I mean, not that the reps are all that delighted to help you anyway. Most of them got their head in their phone. They have an attitude. They don't even look at you. They're looking across the hall at the wall when you're talking to them. There's zero eye contact, which means they're not paying attention. They're thinking about what they're going to have for lunch. So therefore, they don't care about your needs anyway. So it's not like we're losing too much with these branches being gone in all reality, but it's a slap in the face. It's disrespectful. You're paying a lot of money and you should be entitled to what was considered one of the postpaid benefits. So with that being said, in a nutshell, everybody is going to lose in this situation here. Employees first, of course. That's terrible that these people are going to be out of jobs. Worst time of year for it to happen, of course. Customers, we're going to get it. We're going to get it because we're going to be still paying for postpaid, but we're not going to be getting that postpaid experience. It's declining rapidly. It's getting worse and worse. It's not getting better, not really. Like I said, you can offer some of these little cheap perks here and there, but at the end of the day, it's just getting ridiculous already. It's not even really worth it anymore. There's other options out there for you to get these same perks. You can get on cheaper wireless plans, add the perks individually, and still save money, and then have that flexibility to just cancel things when you want. You're not committed. You're not tied in. That's the smart move, if you ask me. But again, there's no right or wrong answer. If you want that kind of lifestyle, if you're okay with it, then it's what's best for you. For many, people are doing more research, they're staying alert, and they're making those changes to not be pigeonholed by carriers that just want to disrespect them. Yeah. If you guys have any questions for me, do feel free to comment down below. And I'm thinking of doing some lives because the videos are long, and sometimes I got a lot to say, and I want to have the conversations with you guys. So I might set up a live when I can. It's a little hard for me sometimes because scheduling doesn't always work out. I'm not always able to do it. But if I do, that would probably be an interesting thing because we can kind of hash it out. Conversations like this, videos, that there's a lot of input. I'm sure a lot of you guys have different feelings about this. There's a lot you want to say. There's a lot of ways to feel about these types of updates, right? And some of you might even be personally affected by this. You might actually be a Verizon employee or know someone that is going to get laid off. And, that kind of stinks. So you probably have a lot of input. But anyway, we'll wrap it up here. Like I said, thank you so much for listening. Thank you. I hope you are enjoying the content on this channel. Please give the video a like, subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Share with someone that you think might be interested. That would be cool to have more people like-minded coming in, enjoying the content, and just, comments are always welcome. Definitely. If you guys want to express yourself in the comment section, go ahead, do that. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.